sorry, psychopaths. In the remote chance Barnes himself sees this. Sir, I acknowledge and recognize your legacy and continued contribution to heavy metal, and I see you for the legend that you are. Therefore, you are obviously far above some fucking dork on the internet, me, dissecting your music. But okay, I'm out jogging the other day and I got a playlist of mainly hardcore from the 80s and 90s. Gangrene, Warzone, Ill Repute, No Redeeming Social Value, Chaos UK, and Exploited. And I'm doing my thing, but something keeps bringing me back to something heavier in my head, and I'm like, what is this culmination I can't think of right now? It was a certain song that I knew I'd heard recently, and then all of a sudden it hits me. I'm like, oh shit, it's that new 6 Feet Under I'm thinking of. No, Nothing Ingrate. So I switch over to it, and it all makes sense. I'm like, this is death metal, death and roll, but it's every bit punk as what I've been listening to for the last half hour. And I finished the album for probably the 4th or 5th time since it came out, and despite liking it off the bat, the revelation I had as to what it seems like a lot of other people don't like about it felt pretty clear. Killing for Revenge might be one of those albums that's, quote, not for everybody. Dare I say you gotta be kind of diehard, or at least somebody who appreciates a kind of raw, fuck convention sort of approach to songwriting, or at least by today's standards. Some people might be like, yeah, that's sure as shit. Here's what I mean. Maybe not the biggest, but at least the first complaint from other YouTubers seems to be Barnes' voice. Now, quick note before I drill down on the vocals. If you've seen my channel before, you probably know I never discount anybody's opinion, no matter how much shit they might be talking, because at the end of the day, it's just that. It's just shit talk and opinion, and where's the fun if you just reject it all? But okay, Barnes' vocals on the album. It is a fucking gurgly ass monster kind of grumble that to me sounds exactly like what you might expect a death metaler who's 56 and has been doing it consistently for years to sound like. Like it's almost like he's decrepit and getting even scarier sounding as he's aging. And I'm not even saying I think 56 is old or nothing. This is just a mood that I take from it. It's almost kind of, quote, different in a way, you know? It's the same reason I love Zetro's voice, because Zetro sounds different than a lot of other singers, and it just seems to, like, fit the kind of lyrics and songs that Exodus puts out. Like, as if to say it's perfectly appropriate for the rest of the music, and that's the case with 6 Feet Under right now, I think. Hell, I hope he gets even more gurgly as time goes on. But if you want a quite literally isolated example of what I'm talking about, there's a couple instances in the album where for a split second you only hear Barnes, like without anything behind him. Second song, Accomplice to Evil Deeds, is one of them, and Hostility Against Mankind's another, sorta. The other criticism about Barnes I heard was that his rhythm seemed to be off a little here and there. So maybe this is where some of the crust and hardcore behavior comes in. Like, unless you love tech and precision like Meshuggah or something, it's not even really noticeable. And to be honest, I only really spotted it on Mass Casualty Murder Side. How the fuck do you say it like that, I guess? There's a title for you. The other slam's the production. Again, I don't know, man. I suppose if you don't like stuff that's not perfectly clean, maybe you'd knock this, but if you actually do like stuff that's a little more raw and not blatantly studio, well, there you go. And while I'm at it, this is something I highlighted in one of my earlier videos about noticing people's battle jackets having more of a mix of genre these days as opposed to only one like you saw more in the 90s. But I can now recall seeing vests with like Amoebics, Anti-Semics, Skit System, Dysphere, that kind of stuff, also having 6 Feet Under on them. So respect's coming from the crust crowd too, apparently, at least some of them. But individual, song-wise as a whole, yeah, there are undoubtedly bangers on Killing for Revenge. No Nothing Ingrate's fun as hell. When the Moon Goes Down in Blood, that's another one I'd describe as fun. Hostility Against Mankind and Neanderthal, those are both pretty similar to each other in that they're both on the slower side, but they are fucking bangers in my opinion, man. Especially Neanderthal, because it's got this really cool kind of like slow angel dust PCP sort of stupor to him with really good riffs. Fit of Carnage is like a goddamn baseball bat across the face, man. Blunt, fast, brutal. Mass Casualty Murder Side. The coolest part of this song is this real sinister sounding solo sort of riff that's really different from the rest of the song, but it's very well done. And then Spoils of War's got this really cool riff with a D beat, and again, Barnes is doing his thing, man. No different from any other moment on the album. Fucking A. Oh, and then there's a cover of Hair of the Dog, Nazareth, and it's Hair of the Dog with Barnes instead of Dan McCafferty. So yeah, man, if your thing is only Malevolent Creation, Bolt Thrower, Morbid Angel, you may not like this. Or if it's Meshuggah or In Flames or something, maybe same thing. But if you like stuff that's not as grid, let's call it, if you like the looseness and I Hate God, even though Killing for Revenge isn't that style, or you appreciate the sincerity of something like Strong Intention or Weekend Nachos, you should be able to enjoy a lot of moments on this album, cause you know damn well Barnes ain't taking any notes as to what's in these days of heavy metal, and thrashcore sure as hell ain't, but the realness of the craft shared by both camps. I think the key to ultimately appreciating, even liking Killing for Revenge if you're not a straight up 6 Feet Under super fan is viewing it through glasses that are probably different from your normal view. Hell, that was the case for me with friggin' Rolling Stones. For years, I couldn't figure out what was so special about them until one day somebody was like, "You like Guns N' Roses, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love them." And then they're like, "Listen to Exile on Main Street, listen to Sticky Fingers, and pretend it's GNR." And I did, and I'm like, "Oh shit, okay, yeah." And even to a degree, it was like that with me for Black Sabbath. I knew the hits, like I knew Paranoid, War Pigs, and all that, but I was already very well deep into Weed Eater and Sleep, and then as soon as I heard Volume 4, instantly it clicked, and to this day, I like the entire Black Sabbath discography, including Dio, Seven Star, and Tony Martin. I'm just not a huge fan of Born Again, as weird as that seems. So yeah, dude, alright. Personally, I noticed some really quickly identifiable beauty on Killing for Revenge against what seemed like a lot of bad reviews, so I was like, well, I happen to think it's a pretty good album. But as always, like I say, the fuck do I know? Okay, man, if you did like this video, cool, maybe you can give it a thumbs up. Or if you just like hearing somebody bullshit about heavy metal, then Chris Barnes your ass right into that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on Concrete Spew, but until then, stay wild, my friends.